Okay, greetings. Um, this is a update video a little bit. Recently I added, or I brought to the attention of the community the, the Showtime documentary involving Grace, formerly known as Crusader Girl, Nathan D'Amigo, and Christian Picciolini. Um, at that time, I learned a lot of new things about that situation, whereas before I'd been only sketchily aware of so many things. Um, One that Christian Picciolini has been promoted for several years now as a person who's fighting hate groups, most specifically domestic hate groups, most specifically neo-Nazi hate groups. The claim being he has personal experience having been one of the first neo-Nazis, it is claimed, and having left that lifestyle because he found that everything he believed was not backed by real facts. That minorities weren't out to get us and all kinds of different things that he claimed neo-Nazis believed. One thing I'll notice in passing is when Grace Crusader Girl made her video in the end of the Showtime video, she basically mouthed Picciolini's talking points. She said that she had been tricked into believing that all races were the causes of our problems. And she said it all in a way that reminded me a lot of the way Picciolini described the white racialist movement. But there seem to be a few distorted facts coming from that Showtime documentary, if not outright lies. Let me also say that I'm looking for people who may have some information tied to Christian Picciolini, what was going on with the women that Christian Picciolini was working with in whatever way. And also the guys that are brought up, specifically one guy named Michael Hansen. Because I think there's been some outright lying as far as to who Michael Hansen was and his influence over Grace Crusader Girl. I think there's been some intentional distortion in the fact that Picciolini implied, if not outright said, that Grace was just innocently surfing the web, more or less, stumbled into a chat room where Michael Hansen was, and was tricked into adopting neo-Nazi or white racialist worldviews for a time. I have talked to a few people over the last couple weeks that are close enough to the situation to know that this is an outright fabrication. The main thing here you need to know is that Crusader Girl sought out Michael Hansen for help with making videos. This is in the very early stages of my looking into this and trying to get information. So I'm only going to throw out little bits and pieces that I can't tie a ribbon around and finish the job. But what I do and hope I can encourage is people to be more forthcoming about this. Number one, I need to know more about Michael Hansen. The limited information I've gotten is that he's from the United States. He's not Russian. And he's a good guy. And he's very intelligent. I need to know specifically what kind of intelligence he has. I need to know his ideology. Is he a neo-Nazi or what? I'm not absolutely sure of that. It's all implied by supposedly Michael Hansen becoming sort of like a cyber boyfriend of a Crusader girl. But many things are unclear, so I'm unclear as to how much we can trust Michael Hansen was who he was claiming to be, either for our group of WN racialists or Picciolini, or if one or the other knew exactly who he was. I'm totally unclear on that. Because I've already stated, I believe it's highly possible Crusader Girl was planted into the movement to blend in and become noticeable through making videos, and then to crap out on the movement. So appropriate propaganda handling the way of the globalists want racialists to be viewed upon by the 85% that lap up the news stories they post would be perceived. So Michael Hansen is a guy who is not Russian, from what I hear from the inside folks, not Picciolini. Picciolini went out of his way to say the guy was dealing with Russian intelligence or Russian this, that, or the other thing, sort of linking the WikiLeaks stuff, where or the news media's counter narrative, where Russia leaked a whole bunch of stuff to WikiLeaks. I believe that's what that was. The other thing is, I've heard a direct challenge to this idea that this Michael Hansen had a gimmick where he was enticing young girls to lead evil lives by adopting neo-Nazi philosophy. And if they backed out, and somehow enticing them to send him nude photos, which he would then later use on them if they backed out of what they were doing. I have gotten information that this is specifically not true in the case of Crusader Girl. Now, this wasn't specifically said by Christian Picciolini, but he did imply that this gimmick was being used by Michael Hansen. Also, a couple of interesting facts is I mentioned in one of my previous videos that Nathan Damago keeps popping up on many Christian Picciolini videos in the Showtime documentary and stuff like that. Sinead was never mentioned in the Showtime documentary, but I watched a 1-hour talk given by Nicholas Picciolini online on a video from March. Christian clearly knew that the documentary was upcoming, and he was being showcased around apparently into some Society for the Creation of Wonderful People or something. I can't remember the name of it. And he had pictures that went along with his 30-minute dialogue. And guess who was showcased? Heathen Women's website. Sinead's website is being used by Picciolini as a demonstration of the nice face of hate, along with Nathan Demago now, because we've already targeted Nathan for that assignment, being the nice face of hate. Picciolini wants you to believe that all neo-Nazis stem from an evil motorcycle gang-like cult that realized to grow and expand they would have to look nicer and different from their current biker-like image. And he claims that the alt-right was really sort of invented 30 years ago by them. And you're now seeing the fruits of that. Of course, Nathan Damago was highlighted in the Showtime documentary. Sinead, uh, Sinead's website homepage has this picture of about 15 pretty young women all giving the Roman salute or Hail Hitler salute. This was a picture that came up while he was talking about this. This doesn't automatically implicate Sinead in something bad, but I have mentioned that it is worrisome that somehow Sinead is in the middle of all this with all the other weird situations Sinead's gotten involved in. It's simply worrisome. Doesn't prove anything because Demago seems to always pop up in Jew documentaries. That doesn't in and of itself prove anything. But they're worrisome things to anybody who understands that when Debian and racialist whites are showcased on the Jewish media, it's almost never for anything that's going to improve their image. So they were showcased as a nice image showcasing a horrible evil is how it was presented. There's not a whole lot more to what I want to say because it's just sort of an in the middle, in between kind of thing. To let people know, I think we have a whole bunch of lies in this documentary that we can showcase. Now, I don't count on Sinead for anything. She's playing this game really weird where she doesn't even talk about the documentary right now. So, I don't expect any help from Sinead due to all the reasons I've given you in the past. She's playing her own little feminazi game with VK Clark. And she's doing the Picciolini angle from a you gotta fear all men, they're all evil, you can't trust any of them. But to all those who may, over the last few years, gotten to know either Michael Hansen, Christian Picciolini, any of the girls that Picciolini was interacting with, which would include Grace Crusader Girl, possibly Michelle K, I'm not sure. I believe Avalion created a video talking about Christian Picciolini, which I have not actually seen, by the way. So I might have to look at it one of these days just to see what her mindset was at the time. So I think we got some potential situation here to where we can make, if not prove the Jew media is deliberately lying and distorting who white racialists are, and therefore fake news themselves. They like to talk about fake news being us. But it's any way we can undermine the scenarios they present, and if we have direct proof that contradicts that, we need to stand up and make a case. Right now, I get the feeling there's people out there that can make a case, but for whatever reason, they don't want to make a case. So with that, I'll leave it be, and wish you a happy Memorial Day tomorrow. Y'all have a good one.